Now that Justin has fully displayed his affection for Carla, he has to move her into their next level. Justin is really feeling Carla. They wait for each other at the end of each workday. They have now been together for 6 months, with them being together at every turn, and with Jared on the weekends. While they spend time at his penthouse, they mostly spend time in her apartment. When Justin has to work late, Carla just simply jumps on the bus to home. However, she notices they are spending most of their time at her apartment. She doesn't think anything about it. She just thinks he feels more comfortable in her space. One day while at work, Eric walks over to Carla with a troubled look on his face and tells her in a low voice, "There's a man at the back door asking for you." He says his name is Ready Money. Carla's face drops. Her ex and Jared's father is out of jail. What could he want? Eric's words hit Carla like a punch to the chest. Ready Money. She hadn't heard that name spoken out loud in years. Not since the courthouse. Not since the nights she cried herself to sleep praying he'd stay away long enough for her to get her life together. Not since she promised herself that Jared would never have to see the version of her when she used to be around him. And now he was at the back door of her job. The moment it hits her, Carla's whole body goes still. Her hand freezes halfway, cutting the bread. Her throat tightens, and for a second she can't even breathe. She looks at Eric, hoping maybe he's joking, maybe she misheard. But Eric's face is serious, worried even. He said he just got out. Eric murmurs. Said he needs to talk to you. Didn't look right to me. Carla's stomach drops. That old mix of fear, shame, and anger rises up fast. Too fast. She feels 28 again, standing in her mama's kitchen, holding a crying newborn, wondering how she got tangled up with a man like him. She wipes her palms on her uniform pants, trying to steady herself. "Where is he?" she whispers. "By the loading dock. He said he ain't leaving till he sees you." Outside, Carla steps toward the back hallway, but her legs feel heavy. Every step brings back memories she's tried to bury: his temper, his charm, the chaos, the drugs, the lies, the way he could flip from sweet to dangerous in a heartbeat. And then she thinks of Jared, her baby, her whole world. The idea of Ready Money wanting to see him makes her chest tighten with something fierce and protective. She stops at the door, hand on the metal push bar, heart pounding. She doesn't know what version of him is on the other side. She doesn't know what he wants. She doesn't know if she's ready. But she knows one thing. She's not the same girl he left behind. Ready Money stands with his back to the wall, hands in his pockets, head slightly bowed like he's thinking through something he hasn't decided how to say yet. He's thinner than she remembers, older around the eyes, but that same unpredictable energy clings to him, like a storm cloud that hasn't decided whether it's going to break. He lifts his head when he senses movement. Their eyes meet through the narrow gap. He doesn't smile. He doesn't scowl. He just looks at her, steady, unreadable. "Carla," he says, voice low, rough from time and whatever he's been through. "I just want to talk." The way he says it makes her chest tighten. Not threatening, not pleading, just controlled. Too controlled, like he's holding something back. She keeps her hand on the door, ready to shut it if he twitches wrong. "You shouldn't be here," she says quietly. "I know." He shifts his weight, glancing around the empty, loading dock. "That's why I came to the back. Didn't want to make a scene." That's what scares her, him trying to be considerate. He was never careful before, never gentle, never this calm. "Jared don't know I'm out," he adds, eyes flicking back to hers. "Figured you should hear it from me first." Her breath catches. He's watching her reaction, measuring it, like he's trying to decide how much space he has to move. "I ain't here to start nothing," he says. "Just needed to see you. Needed to see where things stand." Her pulse is loud in her ears, but she keeps her face still. She's not that girl anymore. She's not scared the same way. But the history between them sits heavy in the air, unspoken, thick, familiar in the worst way. She studies him through the crack in the door, trying to read the truth beneath the calm. He's not angry. He's not high. He's not swaggering. But he's not harmless either. And he knows it. The tension holds. Neither of them moves. The loading dock is quiet except for the distant hum of traffic and the soft buzz of the fluorescent light above the door. Finally, he says, "Can we talk somewhere?" Just you and me. 5 minutes. Carla motions to the corner of the building. Okay, you have 5 minutes, 'cause I gotta get back to work. They stop in the shadowed spot, where the hum of the HVAC unit fills the silence. Carla crosses her arms, planting her feet like she's bracing for a storm. Ready Money stays a few steps back, hands still in his pockets. Shoulders slightly hunched like he's trying to make himself smaller, less threatening. But that tension is there, coiled under the surface. He studies her for a moment, and the quiet stretches long enough to make her jaw tighten. You look good, he finally says. Not flirty, not slick, just observing. Carla doesn't respond. She's not giving him that. He nods once, like he expected the silence. He says, straight to it then. What he wants. I've been thinking a lot while I was inside. He says, about you, about Jared, about how I left things. Carla's eyes narrow. She doesn't interrupt, but her whole body goes still. I ain't here to start trouble, he continues. Ain't here to drag you back into nothing. I want to see my son. There it is, the thing she feared, the thing she knew was coming. Her stomach twists, but her face stays stone. You don't get to just pop up and say that, she says quietly. You don't get to walk out of prison and walk into his life like you ain't been gone his whole childhood. He nods again, slow, accepting the hit. I know, he says. I know I messed up. I know I wasn't there. But I'm trying to do right now. Carla lets out a breath through her nose, sharp and controlled. Doing right starts with respecting me, she says. And showing up at my job? That ain't it. He flinches, not big, but enough for her to see it. I didn't know where else to find you, he says. And I didn't want to go to your mama house. Didn't want to scare the boy or upset your mama. That lands differently. Not enough to soften her, but enough to make her listen. For a moment, neither of them speaks. The air between them is thick, history, regret, fear, and something else she doesn't want to name. He finally lifts his eyes to hers. Just tell me what I gotta do, he says. Tell me how to do this the right way. Carla feels her throat tighten, because she doesn't know the answer, because she didn't expect him to ask, because part of her is terrified he means it, and part of her is terrified he doesn't. Carla looks at him and says, I got a new man now, and he loved Jared like he his own, and I won't jeopardize that. He treat us both real good. Ready Money doesn't react right away. His jaw flexes once, barely noticeable, but Carla catches it. He drops his eyes to the ground for a second, then looks back up at her with something complicated in his expression. Hurt, pride, maybe even a little disbelief. A new man, he repeats quietly. Not mocking, not angry, just absorbing it. He nods once, slow. Yeah, I figured you would have moved on. But there's something in the way he says it, like he hoped she hadn't, like he thought he still had some kind of pull. Carla doesn't give him room to imagine that. You figured right, she says. He good to my son. That matters. Ready Money shifts his weight, hands still in his pockets, shoulders tightening just a little. I ain't trying to take nobody's place, he says. Ain't trying to mess up what you got. I'm still his father. Carla's eyes narrow, but she doesn't interrupt. I know I ain't earned nothing, he continues. Not your trust, not his time, not even this conversation. But I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to be better. Here's no swagger in his voice, no street bravado. Just a man who's been knocked down enough times to finally understand he ain't in control of nothing. Carla's stance. Carla crosses her arms tighter, grounding herself. You say you want to do better, she says, voice steady. Then respect what I'm telling you. Respect the life I built without you. Respect the man who stepped up when you didn't. He nods again, slower this time. I hear you. But his eyes, those eyes that used to charm her into forgiving things she shouldn't have, are watching her too closely, searching for cracks, for softness, for anything he can use. He doesn't find any. Carla doesn't flinch. She's heard that tone from before, the mix of pride, challenge, and wounded ego. But this time it doesn't shake her. It just makes her spine straighten a little more. Yeah, that's cool, he says, stepping half a foot closer, voice low. I heard about your pretty rich man. Jared's still my son, any kind of way you look at it. Carla's words come out sharp, raw, and unfiltered. Years of hurt rising straight to the surface. You left me in the streets like a mangy dog. You didn't even look back. You didn't care. You didn't even come to see me after I gave birth. And you knew where we was. You just kept hitting the streets with that chick until you got busted. Now you want to show up here and make claims on Jared? Really? The sound of her voice, low, shaking but strong, hits him harder than any punch. The way her anger lands on him. Ready Money doesn't step forward. He doesn't bark back. He just stands there, shoulders stiff, jaw tight, eyes flickering like every word is a blow he knows he earned. He tries to hold her gaze, but he can't. Not at first. He looks down at the concrete, breathing slow, like he's trying to swallow something bitter. When he finally speaks, his voice is rough. I know what I did, he says. Ain't no excuse for it. I was out there wild. I was stupid. I was selfish. I ain't gonna sit here and pretend like I wasn't. Carla crosses her arms tighter, chest rising and falling fast. She's not crying, but the heat behind her eyes is real. He lifts his head again, and there's no swagger left, just a man facing the truth he ran from. You're right, he says. I didn't come see you. I didn't come see my son. I ain't show up for nothing. I was too far gone in them streets, and I ain't proud of that. He takes a slow breath. But I ain't here to rewrite history. I'm here 'cause I'm trying to fix what I can before it's too late. Carla's voice slices through the space between them, sharp, controlled, but trembling with the truth she's held in for years. How long you been out? And what you offering to see Jared? Ready Money blinks, taken off guard by how direct she is. He expected anger. He didn't expect interrogation. But he deserves it, and he knows it. His answer comes slow. 3 weeks, he says. Been out 3 weeks. Carla's eyebrows lift just a little. 3 weeks. And you just now showing up? He sees a judgment in her face and rushes to explain, but not with excuses. More like a man trying to keep his footing. I've been staying with my cousin on 39th, trying to get my papers straight, get a job lined up. I ain't want to come to you empty-handed. I ain't want to come wrong. Carla doesn't soften. She doesn't even blink. Let me think on it and talk to my mama, Jared, and my man. You got a phone number? Why you gotta talk to your mama and your man first? She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't step back. She just looks at him like she's finally seeing the whole picture clearly. Because they the ones who been here, she says. They the ones who held me down when you didn't. They the ones who know what's best for Jared right now. She lets that sit for a beat. And because I don't make decisions about my child in a vacuum. Not anymore. I got a family now. A real support system. And you don't get to walk in after 3 weeks out and act like you outranked them. Ready Money's jaw tightens, but he stays quiet. Carla steps a little closer. Not aggressive. Just firm enough to make sure he hears her clearly. You a skin for a place in Jared's life? Then you gone respect the people who been raising him. That start with my mama. And it damn sure include the man who been loving him like his own. She tilts her head, eyes steady. You got a problem with that? He exhales slowly, the fight draining out his shoulders. Nah, he mutters. Ain't no problem. I ain't used to being on the outside looking in. Carla nods once. That's exactly where you are right now. And whether you move closer or stay out there, that's on you. He swallows, then finally reaches into his pocket and pulls out a folded slip of paper. My number, he says quietly. Use it if you decide to. Carla takes it, but she doesn't promise anything. She just tucks it into her pocket, like it's a piece of business, not a piece of her past. She waits until they're in the quiet of her apartment. Jared already asleep on the couch. Justin is in the kitchen, rinsing out 2 glasses when he looks up and sees her face. You've been quiet all evening. What happened? He asks softly, drying his hands. Carla sits at the counter, exhales, and tells him everything. Eric coming to get her, Ready Money at the back door, the conversation by the loading dock, the anger, the hurt, the number he gave her. Justin listens without interrupting. His jaw tightens at certain parts, but he doesn't jump in, doesn't try to fix it, doesn't get jealous. He just stands there, leaning on the counter, eyes steady on her. When she finishes, he nods once. "Thank you for telling me," he says. "And whatever you decide, we'll handle it together. Jared's safety comes first. Always." That steadiness, his calm, his respect, grounds her in a way she didn't know she needed. Carla steps into the bedroom and dials her mother. It's late, but Mama answers on the second ring like she already knew something was wrong. "Baby, you okay?" Carla sits on the edge of the bed, rubbing her forehead. "Mama, ready money out. He came to my job today." There's a long silence on the other end. Not shocked, just the kind of silence that comes from a woman who's seen too much and hoped this day wouldn't come. "What do you want?" her mother finally asks. "He say he want to see Jared." Another silence. Then, "Hum. And what you say?" "I told him I'd think on it." Talk to Justin." Her mother exhales, slow and heavy. "Well, you did right, 'cause that man ain't never been steady a day in his life. And Jared don't need no confusion. But he is that boy's father, even if he ain't acted like it." Carla closes her eyes. "I know." Her mother's voice softens. "We'll talk more tomorrow. But don't you let guilt make decisions for you. And don't let that man rush you. You hear me?" "Yes, ma'am." And Carla, "Yeah, Mama, I'm proud of you. You handled it like a grown woman." Carla feels her throat tighten. She hangs up and sits quietly for a moment, the weight of the day settling in. Justin steps into the doorway, watching her with concern but not crowding her. She's not ready to decide anything yet, but she's not that scared girl anymore either. She has a voice. She has support. She has a family that loves her. And whatever happens next, she won't face it alone. A week goes by without any contact from Ready Money. She felt relief in the quietness. Then he came. Carla knew the minute she saw him walking up to the employee entrance that something was off. Ready Money didn't have that tense, coiled energy from last time. This time he looked hungry, not for food, for help. He waited until she stepped outside for her break, then came right out with it. "I need a little something till I get on my feet." Carla blinked at him, arms crossed. "What makes you think I got extra money?" "I ain't got no extra money." He sucked his teeth. "Man, stop playing. You got a rich boyfriend now. Ask him to help." The shift in Carla's energy. That did it. Carla's whole posture changed. Her shoulders squared, her chin lifted, and her voice dropped into that low, dangerous calm she only used when someone crossed a line. "First of all," she said, "Justin ain't no ATM. And even if he was, you don't get to spend his money." Ready Money rolled his eyes. "I ain't a skin for a lot. Just a little something to hold me over." Carla stepped closer, not scared, just done. "You got out 3 weeks ago. You ain't asked about a job. You ain't asked about programs. You ain't asked how Jared's doing in school. The only thing you asked for is money." He opened his mouth, but she cut him off. "And let me make this real clear. You don't get to use my child or my relationship to hustle me. Not now, not ever." He stiffened, jaw tight. "I ain't hustling you. I'm a skin for help." "No," Carla said. "You're a skin for a shortcut. And I don't do shortcuts no more." He looked away, frustrated, embarrassed, maybe even angry, but she didn't budge. "You want to see Jared?" she said. "Then show me you can stand on your own 2 feet. Show me you can stay clean. Show me you can hold a job. Show me you ain't the same man who left me in the streets." He didn't say anything. Carla shook her head. But a skimmy for money? That ain't the way." Ready Money finally muttered, Whatever." But the way he said it told her everything. He wasn't used to hearing no, especially from her. Carla didn't soften. "I'll let you know when I'm ready to talk about Jared. But don't come up to my job again a skin for money. That's not gonna fly." She turned to go back inside, leaving him standing there with nothing but his pride and his choices. Ready Money's face tightens, that old street edge sliding back into his voice. "So that's how you talk to me now?" Carla doesn't move. "I said what I said." He steps closer, not touching her, but close enough that she feels a shift in the air. "You actin' real brand new," he says. "Real bold. Must be that rich man got you feeling untouchable." Carla's eyes narrow. "Man, you need to back up off me." But he doesn't. His voice drops lower, sharper. You think your man gone protect you? Protect Jared? Protect your mama? Girl, please. Carla's stomach tightens. What you saying? He smirks, not playful, but bitter. I'm saying you better watch how you talk to me. 'Cause I know where your mama stay. I know where Jared go to school. And I'll find out where that fancy man of yours live too. Carla's breath catches. Not fear or anger. You threatening my family now? She asks, voice low and steady. I ain't threatening nobody, he says, but the tone says otherwise. I'm just reminding you I ain't invisible. You don't get to treat me like trash and walk away. Carla's response. She straightens her back, refusing to let him see her shaken. You need to leave, she says. Right now. He scoffs. Or what? You gonna call security? Call your man. Carla doesn't blink. The only people I need to call is the popo. Then she tilted her head. All I gotta say is you just threaten my family and my man. Then you'll be looking at them 5x5s and concrete walls again. So, you really need to dip and don't come back up here no more. And don't forget, I still got 2 brothers. While they ain't in the game no more, they still got a lot of favors they can call in on yo ass. Especially if I tell them you done threaten our mama and their nephew. Now you think on that. For a moment, they stare at each other. His anger simmering, hers locked down tight. Then he steps back, jaw clenched, eyes still burning. He says, do what you gotta do. But don't forget, I'm still Jared's father. And I ain't going nowhere. He turns and walks off, shoulders tense, muttering under his breath. Carla stands there, heart pounding, knowing this just crossed into something she can't ignore. However, she wasn't afraid. She just needed to watch her family's back. And that included Justin, too. That night, while waiting for Justin to get home, her ears stayed on the guard. She dissected every footstep. She was getting paranoid. Then she thought to herself, oh, hell nah. She wasn't going to live like that no more. If ready money wanted to come for her, she would be ready, but she wasn't going to let him occupy her mind or her peace. When Justin arrived at her door, she met him with a smile and a kiss. She had prepared a quick dinner. They talked, and she told him about Ready Money's threats and how she wasn't going to worry about him. She then cleared the table, left the dishes in the sink, and went to run Justin a warm bath. Justin's eyes looked up when he heard the water running. Carla then pulled him into her bedroom, discarding his clothing piece by piece. They didn't talk. She led him to a warm tub, not embarrassed that it wasn't like the fancy tub from his penthouse. She motioned for him to get in. He slid in, eyes closing, feeling the warm water. Then Carla began to bathe him. She ran the water over the back of his neck, then his chest, then with the soapy body sponge. Each move of her hands sensual, cupping each side of his chest, then his stomach. Then she moved her hands to his pelvic, then between his legs. Justin's eyes still closed, enjoying her hands. Then she told him to stand as she rinsed the soap. Then she grabbed the biggest towel she had and motioned for him to get out the tub. She began to dry him off, not hurriedly, but not really slow. Each muscle, arms, legs, chest, and buttocks. She led him to her bed. It wasn't king size like his, which really made it cozier. She then took the body lotion from her table stand and began to lotion him down, from his chest to his strong legs, his feet, and back up. She rolled him on his stomach and massaged the lotion into his muscles and all down his back. When she reached his buttocks, so strong and firm, she laid kisses on each side of them, then slid her body up on him and whispered in his ear. No, he was already aroused. She said, wait for me. She then removed her own clothes, then slid in beside him, planting kisses on his shoulders, his chest, his lips as he rolled on top of her. Feeling his arousal made her wet with desire. She closed her eyes as he kissed her, and then she could feel him pressing into her opening. She let out a gasp, and he moaned. He called her name, Carla baby. In her ear, you feel, as he moved slowly inside her. She could feel every inch of him. She lifted her hips to his motions. She opened her eyes, and he was looking at her, with a warm smile as he moved in and out of her. Then he started to command her body, and moved with hardened and deep thrust. He reached for her leg, pulled it up, and went even deeper. She let out a scream. He increased his thrust until she came apart. He didn't stop there. He wasn't finished with her. He took her legs and placed each one on his shoulders and continued to move inside her until she shuddered again. She lifted her hips to give him full access to her, and he found the spot where he could feel all of her, and he let go, calling her name. They stayed in that position until he had spilled all of himself into her. Justin was still above her, bracing his weight on his forearms, his chest rising and falling against hers. Carla's fingers rested lightly on his back, tracing slow, absent circles. He looked down at her like he was seeing something he'd been searching for without knowing it. Then he leaned in and kissed her, not hungry, not rushed, but soft and lingering, like he was sealing something between them. "I love you, Carla." He didn't blink, didn't look away. He meant every word. Carla's breath caught. For a second she couldn't move, couldn't think, just felt. Something warm and overwhelming rose in her chest. Something she'd been holding back for weeks because she was scared to believe this could be real. She looked up at him with a softness she didn't even know she had in her. "I love you too, Justin," she whispered. And she meant it, every syllable. It wasn't fear talking or loneliness or the moment. It was truth, steady, quiet, and sure. Justin exhaled like he'd been holding that breath for years. His forehead dropped gently to hers, and he smiled, that slow, relieved smile that only comes when a man's heart finally lands where it's been leaning. He kissed her again, deeper this time, his hand sliding to her hip, pulling her close like she was something precious. Carla closed her eyes and let herself feel it. The safety, the warmth, the rightness of him. The morning between them feels different now. Quiet, warm, and full of that new, steady certainty they both finally said out loud. Justin woke first, the light slipping to the curtains in soft stripes across the bed. For a moment, he just lay there, still, listening to the slow rhythm of Carla's breathing. She was curled toward him, one hand resting on his chest like it found its place overnight and refused to move. He smiled to himself, the kind of smile a man wears when something in his life finally makes sense. When Carla did wake, it was gradual. Her eyes blinked open, soft and unfocused, and the first thing she saw was him watching her. Not staring, watching. "Morning," she whispered, her voice still thick with sleep. "Morning," he murmured back, leaning in to kiss her forehead. "You okay?" She nodded, a slow, shy smile spreading across her face. "Yeah, I'm good." Carla stretched, then tucked herself under his arm, her cheek against his shoulder. "Did your ass sleep at all?" she teased softly. "A little," he said. "Spent most of the night looking at you." She laughed under her breath, embarrassed but glowing. "Justin, what?" he said, brushing a braid away from her face. "I meant what I said last night." Her eyes softened. "I know. I did, too." He kissed her again, slow, morning soft, unhurried. The kind of kiss that didn't ask for anything except closeness. When they finally pulled back, Carla sighed contentedly. "We should probably get up," she said, though she made no move to leave his arms. "We should," he agreed, tightening his hold just a little. "But not yet." He rolled over on her again, parting her legs, feeling for her opening. She looks up at him and smiles, then says, "You keep this shit up and Jared ain't gonna be my only kid." He leans into her ear. "Would that be so bad?" Carla raised her brow, not answering. Then he said, "In fact, I'm counting on it." With that he felt her wetness and began to move inside her again, with the tenderness he gave her the night before. They both moved together, until neither one could hold out any longer and reach their peak at the same time. They get up slowly, almost reluctantly, like neither wants to break the spell. Justin keeps brushing against her, hand on her lower back. Fingers graze at her arm, small touches he doesn't even realize he's doing. Carla keeps smiling to herself, those little private smiles that come from replaying the night and the words. They move around each other in the kitchen like they've been doing it for years, passing things, sharing glances, laughing at nothing. There's no awkwardness, just warmth. The ride to her job feels different. Justin insists on driving her, but it's not the "let me do something for you" energy anymore. It's "you're my woman and this is what we do." Carla sits in the passenger seat with her hand resting on his thigh, not even thinking about it. He keeps glancing over at her at stoplights, smiling like he can't help it. When they pull up to her job, he leans in and kisses her slow, not caring who sees. She steps out the car glowing, and Lila, who's already outside, catches every bit of it. At work, Carla is different. She's lighter. She's humming. She's moving fast, but with a little sway in her hips she didn't have last week. And Lila is on her like a detective. Girl, what happened? You look like you slept on a cloud. Carla tries to play it cool, but she can't hide that smile. She just says, nothing, just a good night. Lila, Mom, a good night. I bet. Carla blushes and keeps working, but every time her phone buzzes, she jumps. Because Justin is texting her. Not paragraphs, just little things. Thinking about you in my bath. Hope your morning's going smooth, 'cause mine's ain't. Can't wait to see you later. We will have to pick up where we left off this morning. And each one makes her stop and breathe for a second and smile. Justin at work is useless. His assistant notices immediately. He's in meetings, but he's distracted. He keeps checking his phone. He smiles at random moments. He signs documents without reading them twice because his mind is somewhere else entirely. His assistant finally says, Justin, you're in love, aren't you? He doesn't deny it. He just gives a small, quiet smile and says, Yeah, I am. And she shakes her head like, Lord, help us all. By the afternoon, they're missing each other. Justin can barely control himself. Thinking about Carla and the slow bath she gave him, their love-making and sweet exchanges of I love yous whispered afterwards. He didn't even consider working late to catch up on the work he had daydreamed through earlier in the day. He grabbed his jacket and headed for the kitchen, but Carla was already heading out the front door. Their eyes met, and they started to smile. The valet brought up the car, and they both slid in. Justin had a number on his phone, and it came through the car speakers. Pizzera! The voice on the other end of the phone answered. Justin ordered them a large pizza to be delivered about the time they would be pulling up to Carla's door. When they arrived, he tipped the driver, and they headed inside. Before Carla could even look at the pizza, Justin had his hands under her dress, pulling her panties down, and kissing her all at the same time. Carla, in her crazy voice, said, Man, you try and tap this ass again before we eat? He just grabbed her and lifted her to the countertop and found her spot and began to run his fingers over it, then working them in and out of her, kissing her, and then he undid his zipper, then falling into her, then watching himself slide in and out of her, looking up at her only to plant kisses on her lips. Carla wasn't resisting at all. In fact, she had her hands all over his body, kissing him back with the same fierce heat, watching him, watched him, with a smile on her face, seeing him, enjoying her body. Then she felt it, and him tensing, and her reaching that point of no return. She called his name with such an intensity in her mouth and body that made him give way. They both exploded, giving each other pleasure. They finally came apart, laughing at each other, and long enough to take showers and reheat the pizza. Carla watched a little TV, while Justin did work on his laptop. He was calmer now. They both exchanged smiles throughout the evening. They went to bed full of tender kisses, I love yous, and just holding each other until they fell asleep. Real money calling Carla isn't just a phone call. It's strategy, pressure, and desperation wrapped together. He's trying to get money without crossing a line that sends him back to prison, but he's still the same man who knows how to push buttons. Ready Money calls Carla. Carla was on her lunch break, sitting in the back of the hotel at the employee break table, and her sandwich half-eaten, when her phone lit up with a number she didn't recognize. She almost ignored it until she saw the area code. Her stomach dropped. She answered anyway, steadying her voice. Hello. A beat of silence. Then his voice. Carla. She closed her eyes. What do you want? Ready? Carla, I'm trying to do right, he said, lowering his voice like he wanted to sound sincere. I ain't trying to go back inside. I'm trying to stay straight. But I need a little help to get on my feet. She stared up at the sky, jaw tight. I don't have money for you. You got a whole man with money, he snapped before catching himself. I mean, I'm just saying you ain't got to give me a lot. Carla's voice cooled instantly. Justin ain't your business. I ain't say he was, Ready Money said, though his tone said otherwise. But you know he could help you help me. Carla's grip tightened on the phone. You're not about to use my relationship to hustle me. Not today. He sucked his teeth. Man, you acting brand new. No, she said. I'm acting grown. Silence again, but this time it was heavier. She could almost feel him thinking, recalibrating, trying to find another angle. Then he softened his voice. Carla, I just need a little something. I ain't a skin for the world. You're asking for money, she said, and that's the one thing I ain't giving you. He didn't like that answer. She could hear it in the way his breath changed. You really gone to me like that? He said quietly. After everything? Carla's eyes narrowed. Everything? You mean the years I raised our son alone with Mama? The nights I cried because I didn't know if you were dead or locked up? The times you promised you'd do better and disappeared? He didn't respond. Don't call me for money again, she said. If you want to talk about seeing Jared one day, we can have that conversation. But money? No. She waited for him to argue, to curse, to guilt-trip her. Instead, he said something worse. I bet. Not loud, not angry, just cold. Then he hung up. That cold, I bet. That wasn't disappointment. That was calculation. Carla knows that tone. It's a tone he used when he was about to pivot to a new plan, one she wouldn't like. It made her stomach tighten. The possibilities she starts running through. Carla doesn't want to assume the worst, but she knows him. She knows the life he came from. She knows the habits he used to have. She starts thinking, is he back using? Because that kind of need, fast, urgent, no explanation, feels familiar. Is he in trouble with somebody? People don't ask for money that hard unless someone is pressing them. Is he trying to hustle her the way he used to hustle everybody else? He always had a scheme, always had a story, always had a, just help me this one time. Is he trying to test her boundaries? See how far he can push? See if she'll fold? See if Justin's money is accessible? Every option makes her uneasy. Carla didn't have all the answers, but she was going to find out. Carla calling him back isn't softness. It's instinct. Something in her spirit won't let this go. She knows his story doesn't line up, and she's not about to sit around waiting for the other shoe to drop. When she calls him, the energy is different. She's not scared. She's not emotional. She's focused. Carla calls ready money back. The phone barely rang twice before he answered. "Aye," he said, like he'd been holding the phone in his hand the whole time. Carla didn't waste breath. Money. What you need money so desperately for? Silence. Not long. Just long enough for her to know she hit the right nerve. He cleared his throat. Why you asking me that? Because you didn't give me a reason, she said. You just demanded. And when I said no, you got real cold real fast. So I'm asking again, what you need it for? He scoffed, but it wasn't confidence. It was stalling. Man, you acting like I'm trying to buy a yacht. I just need a little something. That's not an answer. Another pause. She could hear him breathing harder now, pacing again, maybe looking over his shoulder. Carla, it ain't none of your business. It became my business when you showed up at my job, she said. It became my business when you brought Justin into it. And it became my business when you called me like the world was ending. So I'm asking you one more time, what do you need the money for? His voice dropped, low and irritated. Why you pressing me? Because you're lying, she said calmly. And I can hear it. That hit him. She could feel it through the phone. He tried to recover. I ain't lying. I got some things I gotta handle. What things? Carla, damn. You interrogating me now? No, she said. I'm protecting myself. And my son, that shut him up completely. When he finally spoke, his voice was tight. Look, I just owe somebody. You happy now? Carla's stomach dropped. Not because she was surprised, but because she was right. Oh, who? She asked. You don't need to know all that. Do they know about me? He hesitated. Too long. Money, she said slowly. Did you tell somebody you get money from me? He didn't answer, and that silence told her everything. Carla leaned back in her seat, her heart beating hard but her mind suddenly clear. You put my name in something, didn't you? Carla, chill. No, she snapped. You did. You told somebody you could get money out of me. That's why you showed up at my job. That's why you called me. That's why you're so desperate. He exhaled sharply, frustrated. Look, I ain't mean to drag you into nothing. I needed a way out. And you used me, she said quietly. He didn't deny it. His voice drops, low and irritated, like he's mad she's forcing him to say it out loud. Carla, I just got some people on me, aight? Some dudes I used to run with. I OM, and they ain't the type you keep waiting. Carla's heart tightens, but her voice stays calm. What did you do? I ain't do nothing, he snaps, then softens. It's just, when I got out, I ain't of nothing. No job, no place, no clothes. They fronted me some money, to get straight. I was supposed to pay it back quick. And you didn't. I tried, he says too fast. But things ain't go how I thought. And now they want their money. Carla closes her eyes. This is exactly what she feared. The truth beneath his words. He isn't just in debt. He's in debt to the wrong people. People who don't care about parole, consequences, or who gets dragged into the mess. And the worst part? He already used her name. Carla pushes again. What does this have to do with me, ready? He exhales hard. Because they think I got somebody who can help me out. I told him I'd get handled. Handled how? She asks, though she already knows. You know how? He mutters. Carla's stomach drops. You told him I'd give you the money. He doesn't answer. That silence is confirmation. What this means for Carla. Ready Money didn't just ask her for help. He put her in the middle of something dangerous. He made her a target. Maybe not directly, but close enough to make her uneasy. And now she knows exactly what he meant by a way out. He's not looking for help. He's looking for a shield, a buffer, a bailout. And he's willing to risk her peace, her safety, and her family to get it. Carla reaches out to Justin. Carla waited until her shift ended. She didn't want to talk about this in front of Lila or anybody else. She sat in his car, breathing slow, trying to calm the knot in her stomach. Then she called him. He answered on the first ring. Hey, baby, you okay? His voice alone made her exhale. Justin, can we talk? I need your advice on something. His tone shifted instantly, gentle, alert. Okay, what happened? I don't want you to think I'm a skin you for money, she said quickly. I'm not. I need to tell you something, and I need your head on it. You have my full attention, he said. Where are you? In your car. Still at work. I'm coming to you, he said without hesitation. Stay there. No, Justin, you don't have to. I want to, he said softly. Let me help you sort this out. She didn't argue. She needed him close. Justin arrives. He walked up beside her in the parking garage 10 minutes later and tapped on her window. When she stepped out, he pulled her into a hug before she could say a word. You're shaking, he murmured. I'm okay, she said, though she wasn't. Talk to me? Carla tells him everything. She didn't sugarcoat it. She told him. Ready Money called her. He asked for $800. He said he owed people. He hinted those people knew about her. And he used her name as his way out. Justin listened without interrupting, his jaw tightening the more she spoke. But he didn't explode. He didn't panic. He didn't make her feel stupid or guilty. When she finished, she looked at him, eyes tired. I don't know what to do, Justin. I'm not scared of him, but I'm scared of the people he owes. And I don't want this mess anywhere near Jared. Or you. Justin reached over and took her hand, steady and warm. Justin's response, calm, strategic, protective. First, he said, you did the right thing calling me. I'm glad you told me. She nodded, swallowing hard. Second, he continued, you're not responsible for his debts. Not morally, not legally, not emotionally. Carla looked down, but he lifted her chin gently. And third, if he told the wrong people your name, then we need to take this seriously. Not with fear, just with preparation. What kind of preparation? She asked quietly. Justin squeezed her hand. The kind that keeps you and Jared safe. The kind that makes sure nobody touches your peace. He paused, studying her face. You're not alone in this, Carla. Not anymore. Her eyes softened, filling with relief she didn't know she needed. Justin didn't tell Carla exactly how he planned to handle it. Only that he would. He asked her for a number, kissed her forehead, and said, I'll take care of this. You don't need to deal with him anymore. He called Ready Money himself. "Meet me," Justin said, "somewhere public." Ready Money agreed, mostly because he thought he was about to get what he wanted. They met in a quiet corner of a coffee shop parking lot. Justin arrived alone, hands in his pockets, posture relaxed but unmistakably in control. Ready Money walked up with that half-cocky, half-nervous swagger he used
If
when
you
he
are
wasn't
still
sure how
following
things
Carla
would go.
and Justin, then you don't want to miss this next chapter.
Justin nodded.
There is still more
"Let's
drama,
talk."
humor, and
The
sizzling
offer
lovemaking
and the line
to
in the
come.
sand.
Don't forget
Justin
to hit the
didn't
like
waste
and
time.
subscribe button.
"I know what you
Please
asked
tell us
Carla
what you
for.
think.
I know why, and I know who you owe." Ready Money stiffened. "Man, she talked too much." "No," Justin cut in. "She told me enough to keep her and her son safe. That's what matters." Ready Money looked away, jaw tight. Justin reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. He held it. "Didn't hand it over yet. There's $800 in here," he said. "This clears whatever you owe. This gets those people off your back." Ready Money's eyes flickered. Relief, greed, embarrassment, all mixed together. "But that's not all," Justin continued. "A friend of mine owns a warehouse. He's willing to give you a job. Real work. Real pay. No shortcuts." Ready Money blinked. "A job. A job," Justin repeated. "You take it, you show up, you stay clean, you earn your own money, you get a chance to rebuild." Ready Money shifted, uncomfortable. "And if I don't?" Justin finally handed him the envelope, but kept his grip on it until Ready looked him in the eye. "Then that's on you," Justin said. "Not Carla, not Jared, not me." He let go of the envelope. "And here's the last part," Justin said, voice low but steady. "You do not contact Carla again. Not for money, not for favors, not for anything." Ready Money's face tightened. "Man, that's my son. And if you want to get to know Jared," Justin said, "you come correct. You get stable. You get honest. You get consistent. You earn that right." Ready Money swallowed hard. Justin stepped closer, not threatening, just unshakable. "But if you ever put Carla's name in the wrong conversation again, if you ever drag her into your mess, if you ever show up where you shouldn't," he paused, "you and I will have a different kind of conversation. Not violent, not loud, just a promise." Ready Money nodded slowly, understanding exactly what Justin meant. He muttered, "I hear you." "No," Justin said. "I need you to understand me." Ready Money met his eyes. "I understand." Justin stepped back. "Good. Then this is your chance. Don't waste it." Justin didn't tell her every detail, only that it was handled, and that Ready Money had a path forward if he chose to take it. If you have been enjoying Carla and Justin's journey so far, then hit that like and subscribe button. Stay tuned. There's more drama, humor, and sizzling lovemaking in our next chapter. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it.